Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on any purchase over $10. See the description below for details. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. We have a lot of cards to talk about today. So many Commander cards are increasing in value due to the fact that many cards from Ravnica Allegiance have promoted some new strategies. We'll be looking at all of that as we go through the video. Quickly, before we get started though, I'll just simply say if you check out the description below, you'll find a few ways to support the channel if you want to. Our Patreon page is down there. That really goes a long way to help us. Also, you're going to find links to products on Amazon. We'll get a small percentage if you make purchases once you go through those links. And finally, you heard it at the top of the video, but Flipside Gaming, when you use that promo code, that helps us out too. As always though, thank you not only to the folks that look at those links, but to all of you. You all make the channel what it is, so thank you, and let's get into it. We're going to begin, as we always do, with the top 5 cards from standard sets that have lost value this week. Now, just a quick reminder, we are not going to talk about Ravnica Allegiance cards in today's video, because we did a companion video on those a couple days ago. I'll link it at the end in case you missed it. Number 5, Nicol Bolas the Ravager goes down 55 cents to $20.74. Not too surprising here. Nicol Bolas just really hasn't found anything to do in this current standard meta. Because of that, this will continue to lose value in the short term. Number 4 is Rekindling Phoenix, down 69 cents to $21.05. A card that was huge for many, many seasons. This time, though, it is playing a smaller role in the standard meta. It's not gone, though. As a matter of fact, at the Star City Games Open last weekend, there was a deck that came in 7th place running 4 of these in the main. That was a Rakdos midrange deck. And there are various aggro and midrange decks that are running this card, but just not in the numbers that we're used to seeing. Because of that, this will continue to go down in value. Number 3, Vivian Reed goes down 71 cents to $22.01. Now, she is actually seeing a lot of play in standard currently. Sultai midrange, Golgari midrange decks, they'll run 2 or 3 copies of her typically in the main. There's also a variant on Sultai midrange called Sultai Campaign that runs Disinformation Campaign and a few other unique cards, but of course that deck will run this as well. So why is she losing value? Just because her price point was pretty high going into the standard season. Even when she saw a fair amount of play, it wasn't enough to compensate for the high price she was at. So I do think she'll come down maybe just a little bit more, but she should stabilize quickly. Number 2, Carnage Tyrant goes down 89 cents to $27.59. The reason this card is seeing less play is because of Hydroid Krasis. Krasis is amazing and it's kind of pushing this card out of a number of decks. Still see some play though. Some of the Sultai midrange decks will try to run this thing. You will find this in the 4-color gate sideboard, typically, usually around 2 copies or so. In Modern, it's still seeing play out of sideboards in Titan Breach and sometimes Titan Shift. So the card isn't going to disappear, but $27.59 feels a little expensive when you consider the amount of play that it is seeing. This will come down more. Nexus of Fate, believe it or not, is number 1, going down $2.95 to $25.80. Of course, this is the buy a box promo, only available in foil and paper. And yes, this was banned in Magic Arena last week for best of 1 games. However, that's not the reason it's going down in price. The reason it's going down is because the price point was just really high, much like Vivian. But also much like Vivian, this card is seeing a ton of play in a lot of big decks right now. Nexus of Gate, Simic Nexus, Bant Nexus, all these variants of the Nexus deck are actually performing pretty well. I expect it to lose maybe a little more value, but much like Vivian, it should stabilize quickly. Okay, let's move on to the top 5 cards from standard sets that have gained value this week. Coming in at number 5 is Glacial Fortress from Ixalan, going up 48 cents to $5.99. Big mana-based card in a lot of important decks right now. Azorius Control, Esper Control, Bant Nexus, not to mention a number of really good modern decks. Number 4 is Watery Grave, up 51 cents to $9.95. This is the one from Guilds of Ravnica, of course. And again, this is in a lot of big standard decks. Sultai Midrange, Sultai Campaign, Esper Control, and also a lot of important modern decks. Number 3 is Beast Whisperer, up 53 cents to $2.70. Now, this card isn't seeing tons of play in standard or anything like that. I have seen a Legacy Elves ramp deck actually running 4 copies of this in the main, and it performed pretty well on Magic Online, so go figure. I don't know if that will catch on, but worth noting. However, the reason this card is going up in value is because of Commander. In particular, most recently, because of Nikia of the Old Ways. We're going to be talking a lot about this card today. A lot of cards are actually going up in value because of their interactions in Commander with this one. But to be fair, Beast Whisperer was actually going up in value before Ravnica Allegiance came out. just because it was such a solid green card in a lot of builds in Commander. Number 2, Arcades the Strategist goes up 61 cents to $7.99. Again, another card here that's moving not really because of Standard, but because of Commander, and its interaction with a new card from Ravnica Allegiance, High Alert. Number 1, Thief of Sanity, going up 63 cents to $4.70. This card was a little bit undervalued, maybe overlooked coming into this meta, but it's performing pretty well. Sultai midrange and Esper control decks will run this out of the sideboard, and the Sultai campaign decks will run this in the main typically. Alright, let's move on to the top 5 modern legal cards now that have lost value this week. Number 5, Gaddock Teeg from Lorwyn goes down $2.32 to $20, and you're still seeing the influence here from the Ultimate Masters reprintings. Of course, this was reprinted in that set as a rare. And as I've mentioned in the past, I'm going to use my one per video here. This is from Lorwyn, so it had a lower print run compared to many other modern era Magic sets. Because of that, when this card got hot over the last year or two, it really started to inflate very quickly. The reprinting knocked a lot of the value off this card. You can find this in a number of modern decks out of the sideboard. You'll find this in Bad Spirits or Humans, for example. Also in Legacy 4-color loam, many times you'll find this card in the main there. And other modern Legacy and Vintage decks too. Number 4, Engineered Explosives from Fifth Dawn, going down $2.60 to $50.06. Another card that was reprinted in Ultimate Masters as a rare. Now, this card is especially soft now. I mean, it was soft even before the reprinting. Then the reprinting happened. But then Krark Clan Ironworks got banned recently. So a lot of people thought, well, maybe that deck is not going to be a threat anymore. And that was a deck that actually runs typically 2 or 3 copies of this in the main. So that continued to soften up the card. However, maybe that deck is not dead yet. We'll talk more about that later. Aside from that, though, this card does still see other play. Amulet Titan is a very hot deck right now, and usually you'll find a copy of this in the main there and then another copy or 2 in the sideboard. It's also in a lot of other modern sideboards, a few other Legacy sideboards. It is definitely still seeing play. Number 3, Leyline of the Void from Guildpact goes down $2.68 to $47.17. So some people might think, okay, KCI got banned, so maybe I don't need as many ways to interact with the graveyard in my sideboard. This card softens up a little bit this week, but don't sell this card short. A deck like KCI could make a comeback, more on that later. But also, it's good against other big strategies like Dredge and Phoenix decks, which are very hot right now. Number 2, Wheel of Fate from Time Spiral goes down $3.16 to $9.99. Not too surprising, this card spiked pretty heavily back when we saw Electro Dominance first revealed in Ravnica Allegiance previews. Now that we've kind of had time to wrap our head around this card a little bit, it doesn't feel like there's going to be a suspend deck in Modern or anything like that, but this is still a cool interaction for Commander, and you do want to be aware of it if you're trying to build around Electro Dominance there. With that being said, I think Electro Dominance still has a chance in Modern, but if it happens, I don't think it's going to happen with Wheel of Fate. I think it's going to be part of a new version of the As Foretold Living End deck. Number 1 is Thrumming Stone, down $11.64 to $45.49. No surprise here, this was overdue for some snapback just because it's been so hot recently. Why did this card get hot again? Because of persistent petitioners from Ravnica Allegiance. A lot of people trying to build around this card for Commander. Again, Commander is just playing a huge role in so many of the cards we're looking at today, even on these modern lists. You're going to see that in just a moment when we look at the cards going up in value too. But this in particular has been a card that has ignited recently. And I'm sure when people saw the price of this going up and up and up, they started digging through their backlog of cards looking for copies. And eventually, when they come across them and they start putting them out there in the marketplace, things will begin to cool down a little bit and snap back. All right, let's move on to the top 10 modern legal cards that have gained value this week. And again, we're doing 10 just because there's so much going on in the format. A lot of cards are moving because of Modern, but again, you're going to see a fair complement of cards that are moving because of Commander. Number 10 is Extirpate, going up $2.60 to $9.95. This is from Planar Chaos. A lot of people are just picking this up as a budget version of Surgical Extraction because that card is just blown up. Number 9, Dark Confidant from Ravnica City of Guilds, up $2.68 to $64.99. This card has ignited again. It's in so many important decks. A lot of times you'll find 4 ofs. In Modern, you'll find this in Jund and Golgari Midrange. In Legacy, Golgari Depth, 4-color Loam, and other modern Legacy and Vintage decks as well. And this one is starting to go up because it is the original with that unique art with Bob on it. but watch out for those reprints. I think they will start to follow in the weeks to come. Number 8 is Liliana of the Veil from Modern Masters 2017 up 276 to 84 or 59. And this did get a reprinting in Ultimate Masters as a mythic rare, but even so, the card is just doing so well right now in Modern, especially that it's just still going up in value. You're going to find this in some of the same decks where you'll find Bob, Jund, Golgari Midrange, also sometimes in the sideboard of Grixis Death Shadow, which is a very popular deck right now. And you'll find this in other good Modern builds too. Number 7, Surgical Extraction from New Phyrexia going up 369 to 49.21. So even with KCI being banned, there's still plenty of reasons to play this card. Another deck like KCI could be coming, but aside from that, Phoenix is the only reason I need. Those decks are doing great, and Dredge is fantastic too right now. Number 6 is Karavek the Merciless. Now, this is more of a commander move, so I put both the Time Spiral and Archenemy version on there. Time Spiral is going up $1.93 to $8, Archenemy $4.53 to $9.78. And this is a really solid card in those Xantcha builds currently. Number 5, Scalding Tarn from Zendikar goes up $4.53 to $89.86. Wow. These enemy colored fetch lands are extremely hot. They're hard to get a hold of in good condition, more so all the time, even though they did get reprinted in Modern Masters 2017. It's just not enough for the demand right now. And this one in particular is going up because of the success it is seeing in Modern. Is it Phoenix decks will run this, Grixis Death Shadow decks will run this, and also other Modern, Legacy, and Vintage builds. Number 4, Talaria West from Future Sight goes up $5.58 to $17.13 this week. Pretty high jump for an uncommon, huh? What is going on here? Well, this is an Amulet Titan, which is a very popular deck ever since KCI got banned especially. Many times it's in the War of Invention decks. Also, I mentioned that As Foretold Living End deck using Electro Dominance. Well, that deck plays this card too. Number 3, Jace the Mind Sculptor from World Wake up $5.91 to $117.39. So one of the big cards that was not reprinted in Ultimate Masters, and it's definitely showing when it comes to the price climbs. Now, this particular one happens to spike this week, so why is Jace so hot? Well, just because it's an awesome card generally. Look at the control builds in Modern, for example. The Azorius or Jeskai builds are going to be running copies of Jace. But aside from that, you're going to find him in other builds in Legacy, Vintage. Great commander card too. Jace just feels like he's all over the place. Just a very iconic card. Number 2 is Azusa Lost But Seeking. 2 copies. Masters 25 goes up $3.19 to $39.99. And Champions of Kamigawa goes up $7.88 to $48.95. This card remains hot. Mostly it's being pushed due to the fact that it's a key part of Amulet Titan. Number 1. Alright, I've been teasing this one for a little bit now. Semblance Anvil goes up $12.18 to $14.86. So, we might have found our KCI replacement. As a matter of fact, on stream this week, Piotr Glogowski was running that KCI deck with 4 copies of this in lieu of KCI, of course. Went 5-0 with it on MTGO. Now, the fact that it was on MTGO and it was being streamed by a pro, of course, that brought tons of attention to the deck and the card. Can it really get there in a big tournament is still a question that's out there. I don't think it's as good as KCI, but is it good enough? I guess time will tell, but for this week, it doesn't matter, going up quite a bit, as you can see here. I've already started to see some signs of snapback here, because I'm sure a lot of people have these in their collections, and when they see the spike, they're going to try to sell them. There could be online stores that have them in inventory, but haven't posted them to sell online just because they weren't really too worried about posting a card that was that low. They might be putting copies up. So I have no doubt at some point we'll see some snapback here, but we'll have to see what happens long term with this card in that deck. Okay, let's move on to our Vintage Spotlight. This is where we talk about cards that are sometimes played in Legacy or Vintage or 93-94, but also some of the cards that are important to the collector's market. We'll be seeing a number of unlimited cards on here again. That set has generally been hot because online sellers can just move that product easier than they can alpha and beta. And also, collectors still care because the print runs are still low and they are still legal in 93-94 format. Okay, we'll look at a card that's losing value first, though, with Crocus from Eternal Masters going down $2.12 to $28.37. Of course, this was reprinted in Ultimate Masters as a mythic rare, but I've been saying this every week. Expect this to lose more value. With those extra copies out there, this is a card that is banned in Commander. Now, the only people that really care about this card are the folks that want it for very specific Legacy or Vintage decks, and most of those people probably already have their copies, so I would expect this to lose more value. Okay, I don't usually like to talk about foils in these videos because they are tough to follow when it comes to the online market. They're easily manipulated. There's not enough copies out there to keep the prices stable. And here's a good example of that. Scab Clan Berserker from Magic Origins goes up $17.46 to $19.99 for the foil. Now, here's the deal with the card. It is technically a modern legal card, but I put it here since we're talking about the foil. It does see play in mono red prison decks and Legacy, typically 3 copies or so out of the sideboard, and I think because of that somebody speculated and decided to buy out the foils. And that's what you're looking at here. It was such a big percentage spike though, I did want to point it out to you. Just be careful, don't overpay for this card. I'm sure at some point you'll find it cheaper. Also, oddly enough, the pre-release foils have not spiked yet, although I would imagine with this price going up, they'll get bought out even if it's a natural buyout anyway. Next, we have Attunement going up $10.81 to $11.83. All right, this is from Urza's Saga. It has never been reprinted, but it is not on the reserve list. Why is this one going up? Well, again, a pro was streaming a deck. This time it was Caleb Durward. He went 5-0 with an Omnitel Legacy deck, which was running this as well as Replenish, so it was a variation on that type of strategy. And whenever you see some new tech in Legacy, a lot of people will pay attention because Legacy tends to be a little bit of a stagnant format. And when something comes around new, many folks will want to jump on it. And I think that's what you're seeing here. Okay, the rest of the cards in this section will be from Unlimited, so I'll go through them quick. I already explained why they're moving. Mahamoti Jin is going up $12.38 this week to $98.96. Lich, which is on the reserve list, going up $18.37 to $140. Shivan Dragon up $20.11 to $222.60. Wow. Mind Twist going up $21.59 to $183.97. Wheel of Fortune, this is on the reserve list, but it did get reprinted and revised, going up $37.73 to $210.50. Gauntlet of Might going up $99.02 to $800.08. This is on the reserve list. And this is a little bit of market manipulation, it looks like. There are a couple high-grade copies on the market this week, but even for high-grade copies, the people are asking a lot. It might be the same person. And it does appear they're trying to jump the price maybe just a little bit, or they might be putting a high price out there expecting to take an offer on the card. Either way, this one is probably worth closer to $700 and $800, even in high grade. All right, again, we have another huge Commander Spotlight, a lot of cards. I'm going to try to go fast and just give you the main highlights of why these cards are increasing. First, though, a few cards going down in value. Privileged Position from Ravnica City of Guilds goes down $1.62 to $14.46. Of course, this was recently reprinted in the Selesnya Guild kit, so this card has lost a lot of value. I do think it will lose just a little more before it does stabilize. We are approaching a pretty good time to pick this up, though, if you want a copy for Commander. Phyrexian Altar from Invasion goes down $2.48 to $30.40. Of course, this did get reprinted as a rare in Ultimate Masters, which is why it is losing value like it is. Again, I do think it's going to go down some more, so I might wait a little longer before I grab this one if you want the original copy here. Demonic Tutor, another card that was reprinted as a rare in Ultimate Masters. 2 copies to talk about today. Dual Deck Divine versus Demonic goes down $1.84 to $41.82. Unlimited goes down $3.93 to $63.12. Generally, though, ever since the reprinting, all the copies of this card have been softening up for the most part, including the Unlimited copy, and that is saying something. So if you do want to pick this up for either a vintage deck or Commander, could be approaching a good time to grab one of these. Okay, on to the cards going up in value. Paradox Engine goes up $1 to $17.99. Overall, just an amazing Commander card. It can do a lot of really cool things. However, a lot of people are looking at this card right now because folks are building these big mana decks, and there are many cards that fit into a Nikia deck that also work well with Paradox Engine. One Win Nothing goes up $1.11 to $4.99. Now, this is kind of a big jump for the card, and it isn't an amazing Commander card or anything like that, so why are people picking it up now? Well, the Rakdos Guild Kit came out yesterday, and there are some folks that like to take those guild kits and turn them into Commander decks, and with Hellbent being one of the key Rakdos mechanics of the past, One Win Nothing gets a little attention this week. Rapid Hybridization from Commander 2015 goes up $1.12 to $4. Don't buy this for $4. Obviously, you can get the original copy cheaper. But aside from that, the Simic Guild Kit has 2 copies, and of course that came out yesterday. If you really want this card, there's going to be a lot of them in the marketplace. The Commander 2015 version feels like maybe it's been a victim of market manipulation, at least a little bit recently. Kaya Ghost Assassin goes up $1.15 this week to $13.49. Really sweet card. It's good in a number of different commander builds, as a matter of fact. Getting a little extra attention right now, though, because of the color combination. It happens to share colors with a very good card, Teysa Karlov. A lot of people are building around Teysa right now, so Kaya's kind of getting swept into it too. Staff of Domination up $1.27 to $31.24. Again, big mana combos and ways to try to get infinite mana and such are all the rage right now because of Nikya. So again, a card that interacts with other cards that could be good in those type of builds. Prime Speaker Zagana going up $1.28 to $4.68. This is the one from Commander 2015. And just generally, a lot of folks are looking to play this with Zagana Utopian Speaker right now in Commander and various Merfolk builds, usually with Kamina. So that's part of the reason this card has some extra interest on it. Also, the Simic Guild kit came out yesterday too. So again, if I'm trying to look for a starting point to build some kind of Simic Commander deck, this could be an upgrade there. Lightning Greaves. This is the one from Commander 2016 going up $1.31 to $7.47. And this is just really popular right now. A fantastic Commander staple. And even though this is the only copy going up more than $1, for the most part, almost all copies of this are going up in value to some degree. So why are people looking at it especially hard right now? Again, this does work well with Nikya because if you're going to put out a big creature, why not give it some haste and shroud too? Ogre Slumlord goes up $1.34 to $2.80. Another card that's going to play well with Teysa. Also plays well with Rats too. Minamo School at Water's Edge goes up $1.34 this week to $24.07. This card actually has seen a little modern play occasionally in Azorius control builds. But the reason it's moving this week is because a Prime Speaker Vannifar plays well with her in Commander. Elemental Bond goes up this week $1.38 to $3.86. Pretty big percentage jump. This is going to play well with Prime Speaker Vannifar and Nikya strategies. Charcoal Diamond from Commander 2014 goes up $1.44 to $3.20. This whole cycle has been pretty hot because they're great Commander cards, especially this one being in black does play well with Teysa, which I think is maybe part of the reason there's some extra attention on it right now. But all of the ones with the new art have been hot, and I do think they'll continue to be hot, and will go up in value until eventually they are reprinted. Scrib Ranger goes up $1.44 to $7.19, another card that plays well with Prime Speaker Vannifar. However, the modern version of the Prime Speaker deck is also using this card, so there might be a little crossover here. We'll have to see if the modern deck can get there, but at the very least, this will continue to be strong in those builds in Commander. Enlightened Tutor from Eternal Masters goes up $1.44 to $21.87. Generally, the tutors have been hot. This one, no exception. This is great in some Bat enchantment builds, for example. Queen Marchesa, very solid Commander card here, goes up $1.51 to $17.05. A lot of extra attention on it because of some of the cards coming in from Ravnica Allegiance. The Mardu colors brought us a lot of interesting aristocrat strategies. Because of that, people are thinking about building around those with this card in Commander. Leyline of Anticipation. Wow, a different Leyline on our list today. Up $1.59 to $17.66. Just generally a very good Commander card for those blue decks that want to hold on to their mana to the last minute. Toxic Deluge. Now, this one sees a lot of Vintage and Legacy play too, but it's also a good Commander card. Commander 2013 going up $1.36 to $19.76. Eternal Masters going up $1.81 to $19.99. I don't think it's a coincidence that this happens to be a card in black as well, with Teysa being so popular right now. 1,000 Year Elixir. This card has been hot too for a number of weeks. Another card that plays well with Prime Speaker Vannifar and Commander. Lorwyn going up $1.92 to $12.89. Commander Anthology going up $2.01 this week to $12.47. Xenagos, God of Revels, goes up $2.01 to $12.99. Well, this shares colors with a pretty important card right now, and of course that's Nikya. Hazan Tamar goes up $2.04 to $182, and this is a Legends Gold card, which is on the reserve list. I do like to point out when these are going up in value. This one has a little jump this week. Temur Sabertooth goes up $2.62 to $3.30, another card that is showing up in these Nikya builds. Vampiric Tutor from Eternal Masters goes up $2.76 to $54.49. Another tutor, again, maybe not a coincidence that we're seeing some in white and black show up on this list. Overseer of the Damned from Archenemy Nicol Bolas goes up $2.81 to $5.40. Again, another card that's going to play well with Teysa. Transmute Artifact. This is on the reserve list, but if you have a copy, it is a pretty cool Commander card. It goes up $3.21 to $166.49. Here's another one of those reserve list Legends Gold cards. It's Rasputin Dreamweaver. Great with flicker effects in Commander. It goes up 351 to 134.97. Tectonic Break goes up $5.12 to $8. This kind of feels like a buyout to me. It's an okay Commander card, but it's not amazing, although I have seen people run it in Lord Windgrace decks, and it can be pretty good there at times. It does have Therese Nielsen art. There are people that do like to collect her artwork, but I do feel like this is kind of unnatural. The spike sort of came out of nowhere. And I do have a Pauper Spotlight this week. I think it's time to check in on the Black Lotus of Pauper, Oubliette. Now, this is going up $3.69 to $33.99 this week. Of course, it's a great card in those mono black Pauper decks. This is the B variation of the card, which means the casting cost is a little easier to read. The A variation, the one looks a little shaded in, sometimes tough to see, but this particular version is the one that's moving this week. Alright, with that being said, that is the Market Watch. Wow, a lot of cards again. I'm not sure when the market is going to calm down, but it has been crazy over the last month or so. We'll continue to keep track of it all for you, though, and until next time, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page, as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.